next we have to get through some some heartburn. Like, what was the most overrated film for you from the year? What did you find to be a complete waste of time once it was all said and done?
Yeah, so my most overrated, I'll be honest, my sort of gut feeling with this one was to say Everything Everywhere. But the thing is, I don't feel as if that movie's praise, that all of the good accolades that movie has gotten, I don't feel it's undeserved. And so, when I really think about it, this category is reserved for something that doesn't deserve any of its accolades or good positive word of mouth or whatever. And so I settled on Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. And we've discussed this already, about a month ago, so I don't want to harp on it too much, but this movie is so stupid when you compare it to the first one. Its mystery isn't satisfying. All it does is hold back information from you on purpose. There's absolutely no way you could have figured it out as a viewer. The movie is full of really, really awful pop culture references and celebrity cameos that are gonna instantly date this movie within a couple of years, whereas the first movie is very, very timeless. It takes place in a very small location. You don't get really any indication of what the outside world is like. And they turn Benoit Blanc into a bumbling idiot. And he's not smart. He's not even really the one who figures out the mystery. And the movie ends in probably like the worst, like just hissy fit imaginable. And Benoit Blanc gets completely sidelined. And then at the end, he just kind of shows up and he's outside, like, looking at the ocean or something. And yeah, I thought this movie was awful. And it's not just a Rian Johnson thing. I don't like Rian Johnson, but I do like some of his movies. I think the first Knives Out is incredible. I like Brothers Bloom. I like Brick. But the thing that we haven't covered about this movie that I think is an aspect to this movie's success is I think people are overcorrecting a lot. And when I say people, I mean critics. In that when Rian Johnson made The Last Jedi, there was so much crap involved with the discourse about that movie. And it's sort of what it amounted to was a lot of critics out there basically saying that you can't dislike this movie, otherwise you are a racist and a sexist. And that's what it amounted to. And I think a lot of critics with this film are like still on that mindset. They're a lot more apt to bring in political arguments and, socially conscious arguments into why they rate certain movies so highly. And so they're sort of overcorrecting for that. And they're saying, this movie is amazing because me saying that this movie is amazing is a win for whatever cause they want to support, whatever cause they think they're supporting by supporting this movie, even though they're not really. It's really not that important. And this is just a bad movie. It's a bad made movie, and fuck it.
I have a lot I want to say, but I think you just said it well enough. I don't have to throw anything against the wall either. Because the one thing I will point out is that the whole point of this movie is that it's all stupid and nothing matters. That is his big statement that he's making with this movie. It's like, you are a dummy for even caring about whatever mystery I was cooking up. Like, this is just him subverting expectations some more. And, doing the exact same thing that he did with the middle act of the Star Wars trilogy that he was given. It's all just, you think you're just getting another fun little Agatha Christie thing? Well, you're not. It's all just dumb. Isn't that smart? Yeah, fuck you, dude. I almost picked this one. But ultimately, I just kind of had to go with a rubric centered around like how obnoxious I found the success of it. Because there's nothing worse that a movie can do for me personally than making me fall asleep in the theater. And Elvis did. I don't know if I confessed to this when we reviewed it, but there was like yeah, I fell asleep and I woke up like right at the glorious ending, and I was so grateful because this movie just knocked me out. I forgot to hit transition. But yeah, Elvis. I love Baz Luhrmann. He is usually, even at his worst, giving you something extravagant, elaborate, and frenetic. And this movie had no energy. This is the most languid Baz Luhrmann movie. Compare this to Romeo and Juliet. Compare this to Moulin Rouge. His which to me are his S tier Baz Luhrmann movies. And there's just none of that majesty here. Even though he's got swooping cameras and everything looks really pretty, I just was never quite taken with Austin Butler's performance. The fact that he's going to be Mr. Everything now, since he's won a Golden Globe for dedicating his life to this role, I'm just... everything that's going to spring forth from the rot that is Elvis is just going to make me even more upset. So that's where I'm coming from. That's why I picked it. He's going to win Best Actor, and we're all just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's... You didn't even mention the awful Tom Hanks performance, but
I think that goes without saying. I had to watch the trailer again for this movie, and hearing him come in with his dumb little voice, like, some people say I'm the villain of this story. It's just like, holy shit, Tom. Like, did you have to cook it that much? Like, could you have scaled it back a little bit? The fat suit is enough. Like, you're not going to win with the fat suit with a movie called The Whale on the horizon. Pick one. Don't go all in all directions. Because God knows we need to, palate cleanse every once in a while. Because there were some dogs in 2022. There was some real barkers. And some of them are, held up as like the best of the year by some people. Some of the most like sterling and stunning performances and cinema that can be seen. But I don't know, man. Where were you coming at it for your worst? It's like, were you looking for like the genuinely like, this is a piece of shit that never should have happened? Or is it a matter of the amount of talent, behind a project should have delivered me something better? Like, how did you attack the question?
I guess I'll start by saying I don't seek out bad movies generally. I think I have a pretty good radar for whether or not a movie looks like shit. And
True.
So I will say, when I say my pick, I think it can be kind of easy to think that I could be exaggerating, because there are people who have this movie on their best movies of the year list, but I have to go with my gut here, and I'll say my pick was Darren Aronofsky's The Whale.
Woo!
And this movie is cloying, it's overly sentimental, it's Darren Aronofsky literally just doing The Wrestler and Black Swan again. The ending is literally taken whole cloth from Black Swan and The Wrestler. It's the exact same ending for both those movies have the same ending, and this is the third time he's doing it. And none of the characters are likable. It's absolutely miserable. Everyone's miserable. You'll be miserable. And people have been saying a lot about Brendan Fraser's performance, and I didn't think it was that good. I don't think he's a talented enough actor to make this character likable, because he's a piece of shit. And you think he's a piece of shit for the entire movie, and you have no relatability to him at all. And I mean, I guess on a technical level, it's impressive to watch Brendan Fraser carry around 60 pounds of prosthetics. But yeah, I thought this movie was awful. And the sort of cherry on top of it all is the director won't even stand by the comments he's making, because he is telling you that fat people are disgusting. That is his opinion. He's showing that he thinks it's disgusting, but then he won't stand behind those statements when he gives interviews after the fact. So yeah, fuck this movie.
Darren Aronofsky, we expect better of you. Shame be upon you. Sorry, I gotta fight off a pissed off dog. Because, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. And my reasons for not seeing it is because of your concerns for its quality. And I don't know if I want to go to a theater to see a movie in 4:3. I don't know if I believe in that. I would much prefer to sit at home. So I will find a way to see The Whale when I can, just so I can sit back and enjoy all the ham and cheese that's going on in that. because at least there's something to savor, which is the awfulness of the performances, or not the performances is awful, just the cloyingness of it, the misery of the experience. Because there was nothing I could do to make the misery of Amsterdam worthwhile. This is another movie that made me fucking fall asleep. This movie was not interesting. It was not funny. None of the acting is any good. I feel so bad for Margot Robbie. Why is she in all of these really insufferably bad period pieces these days? I know, I hope that she gets a renaissance, with Barbie, because she needs to switch up her career a little bit. This was the first sign of trouble. This whole movie was so dumb. Just incessantly boring, uninteresting. They try so hard to make you care about it by inserting all these modern day concerns and political things in there, when they could have just focused on the genuine politics of the time and what is supposedly the subject matter of the movie, being the Smedley Butler accusation about the conspiracy, like the bankers conspiracy, which is a fascinating bit of American Apocrypha, and he just slathered it in the most uninteresting dreck, a complete waste of time. David O. Russell used to be better than this. I don't know exactly when maybe he never was, is the lesson to be learned here. Because this movie really drove home to me that, wow, once you reach a certain point in your career, they will just give you everything so you can give them nothing. And that's what David O. Russell has turned his career into, if this movie is any indication.
Yeah, for sure. This is the one word that comes to mind when I think of this movie is scatterbrained, because it's a mess, and it's so many things all at once.
And none of them are good. Is also the problem. It's so focused on this bohemian worldview. And then it keeps on trying to rationalize inserting all these cameos in there. I almost picked for my favorite scene of the year. I almost picked Taylor Swift getting run over by a car, because that is the one golden moment in this giant steaming triceratops turd pile. That's what we got going on here.